Hello. Anyway, I keep seeing people always sort of doing things wrong when it comes to hiring different people to do SEO jobs or doing mistakes themselves. So in this video, I'll be covering quickly an introduction into how exactly an audit should be done or why it's important. I won't go into everything in this. This is just more the basics because I keep seeing people making mistakes all the time in regards to this. So why exactly should you get an audit done on your site? Well, the audit itself can identify potentially problems you've made yourself or problems you've made in regards to hiring the wrong people or the wrong agency. Some good examples of some of the mistakes I've seen people make in regards to hiring the cheapest person can find. One of the persons I dealt with before who, for whatever reason, decided to hire the cheapest person can find, this basically meant their rankings went up from went down from 1,000 keywords all the way down to around 300. So this meant the site went down from making say $300 per month all the way down to just $50. That means in theory they've lost $300 and this person for whatever reason still has not paid anyone to fix the mistakes. The person kept telling me, I can fix it myself, that kind of stuff, and okay, great, so keep saying it, but this is something which has been going on for around 6 months to a year, and the person has still not fixed it. And I don't think it ever will. But this is something I notice with people with regards to people who hire people on the cheap. When they hire people on the cheap and things go wrong, they will often never have the sense to hire someone for what you're supposed to pay people to do jobs to then clean up the mess. And to be fair to the person they hired, the person made the worst SEO job I've ever seen. For example, they completely destroyed the on-page thing. They copied tags all around the site, copied the title tags. It basically rewrote meta tags wrong, everything basically wrong potentially you could do and more. So that's the reason they lost all their rankings. It was also connected to an update in this year as well, which didn't help with regard to how bad the person they hired made the site. This is why this person should have hired someone who's actually good at SEO to do an audit and say, this is the problems here, this is how you fix it, and in theory get your rankings up higher than they were before, and higher than they were when you've had a good site. That's what people should be doing with regards to auditing. They should be identifying the problems on the website, whether it's the website problems or off-page problems or anything else. This is why when you audit someone's site, you basically, in general, if you're doing Google SEO work, you basically need access to your search console, your analytics, and anything else which could be potentially useful. For example, let's say we've got a heat map installed. Let's just go Hotjar, since this is quite a common name. If you use Hotjar and we identify that a lot of people are leaving the site quickly, that then could tell us the potential reason for why the ranking loss is happening is because the user is not having a good experience and are not staying on long enough or performing whatever action you want them to do in your site. So using a heat map could potentially allow us to then say this is the problem in regards to losing your ranking. Your site itself is not good enough from a user perspective. So that's something we could potentially do. We might find out a reason for why the site's rankings are lost so much. Maybe a site takes 6 seconds to load, where everyone else in the niche takes 2 seconds. So that's something we could potentially identify. But in order for you to identify it, you have to have some level of SEO knowledge. Generally, more is better. But if you hire wrong people to do jobs, you do the whole I'll hire the first person I can find or the cheapest person I can get. You will often find out you might get short-term success, but once the short-term success is gone, you will then find out that your rankings will generally get dropped, or you could potentially end up with a Google penalty if you hire the wrong people, which I often see is unfortunately problems. Or people trying to seal things themselves, which often goes wrong. Then they have to hire someone, which they often don't do, and then unfortunately the sales keeps going down until it goes from like say $3,000 per month, then down to zero in extreme cases. This is why if you don't know what you're doing regarding SEO things or have been an update and no one seems to know how to fix it or you don't have any idea yourself, it can be a good idea to hire someone to do an audit for you. An audit itself will generally cost around $100 to around a max of say $2,000. Normally a max of 1,000, but just say 2,000. If you're not willing to invest in paying someone to do an audit and you can't fix it yourself, you're going to lose the money or your site itself is going to go from very successful into unsuccessful. This is what you should be aware of when regards to auditing or paying people to audit. You need to make sure the person you're hiring has some level of knowledge. They can do, say, SEO well, they're a good website designer, they got some programming background, that kind of stuff. That's what you want. You want someone who is actually good at what they do, not just hire the cheapest person you can find and hope things work. Because every time I've ever audited someone's site, in basically all the cases I've found, the mistakes themselves, I'm afraid, it's not the case of it's Google's fault. A lot of people claim the fault itself is always caused by either the person running the site or the person or companies they've hired to do the SEO work. This is why you should be aware when it comes to hiring people, you should not always pick the cheapest person you can find because you know it saves you money. You should be trying to pick someone who is good enough to do the job. This might mean you end up paying $2,000 a month compared to paying $100 a month, which goes wrong. This is the differences between price and quality. Price and quality are generally connected. If everyone in a niche, for example, purposes, say charges $1,000 doing a specific job, and someone else charges 100, the $100 person will probably not be as good as the $1,000. Not always, but in a lot of cases. And this is what you should be aware of in regards to if you're hiring your own people to do SEO jobs on your site, you will often find you will need an audit. And if you're not willing to pay the audit, then your business will probably fail unless you get lucky or Google makes an update which for some reason benefits your site. And this is what you should be aware of in SEO. You need to pick the right people to hire if you can't do the SEO work yourself or you don't have the time. Anyway, that's all for the video. Thanks, bye.